Hi, it is me, Jay Burns, and in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this bracelet right here. This bracelet is my own original design, and it is called the Seafoam Bracelet. Now, what this bracelet is basically a triple single-like version of this bracelet right here, and this is called the Mixed Fish Bracelet, and yeah, so to make the Seafoam Bracelet, you will need a monster tail or just any 6 pins on a loom that create kind of a rectangle shape or something like this if you have a rainbow loom. So if you have a rainbow loom, it would just be 6 pins that create a shape like this. And make sure your loom has bases underneath the pins, because this is a growing bracelet. You will also need a hook. I'm going to be using a regular old rainbow loom plastic hook. You will also need a clip, and of course you will need rubber bands. So as you can see here, we have 3 different groups, the A, B, and C group. I'm going to go ahead and explain what each group is. So this A group, the A rubber bands, they are going to be the rubber bands that are they're not going to be popping out at you, but they're the white rubber bands here in the example. These B rubber bands are the rubber bands that will be popping out at you. They'll be the kind of the bold rubber bands, so B rubber band, bold in the front. Something to help you remember. And they are the turquoise rubber bands in this example. The C rubber bands, they are the connector rubber bands, so C, connector, another thing to help you remember what they are. They are the rubber bands that hold the 3 mixed fish bracelets together, so the 3 little sections together. And they are clear in this example, so you might not be able to see them very well. But they're there, so. Anyway. To figure out how many of each type of rubber band you will need, just go down to the description. There will be a how many rubber bands you need little section down there that will help you figure out how many rubber bands you need. About how many, at least. So, yeah. So now that you know what you need, go ahead and get everything that you need and just use the pause button if you need to. Let's just go ahead and get started. So, to get started, you're going to need your monster tail, all 3 types of rubber bands, and to have your hook nearby because we'll be using it after we place the first rubber band. So we just put it back there. So, the first rubber band we're going to be placing is a C color rubber band, and this C color rubber band is actually going to be our cap band. So, yeah, we're going to be placing our cap band first. So to place this, we're going to take the rubber band and we're just going to place it going across these 2 left pins. So the top left pin and the bottom left pin. We will not be using these 2 outer pins here, so this one and this one. We won't be using these where my thumbs are. We will just be using these 6. So you just take the C color rubber band and place it across these 2 left pins, and when you do, make sure you twist the rubber band so it looks like there is an X kind of in the middle of the loom. Now you're going to want to get your hook, and what you're going to do is as you can see, it looks like we have 2 little triangles here in the center of our loom. So what you're going to do is with your hook, you're going to grab the right side of the top triangle, and we're going to just stretch the rubber band out across all 3 of the top pins. So the top, middle, left, and right. And then same with the bottom triangle. We're going to get our hook, grab the right side, so the side on the right, of the triangle with our hook, and stretch it across the 3 bottom pins. So the bottom left, middle, and right pins. And you should have something like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get 3 B color rubber bands. So we're going backwards in the alphabet. Instead of A, B, C, we're going C, B, A. So you get 3 B color rubber bands. and we're just going to place them vertically across the 3 sets of pins we have here. So one B color rubber band's going from this top left pin and the bottom left pin. Another B color rubber band's going across the top middle pin and the bottom middle pin. And the last B color rubber band you're placing right now is going across the bottom and the top right pin. So now we should have 2 layers of rubber bands on all 6 pins right now. Because don't forget these 3 up here. Now we're going to get 3 A color rubber bands, and we're going to place them the same way we did our B color rubber bands. So just place one of them going vertically on these 2 left pins, another going vertically across these 2 right pin, or these 2 middle pins, and one more across these 2 right pins. Alright, now we're going to loom because we have 3 layers of rubber bands on all 6 pins. So to loom, it's very easy. All we need to do is just grab the C color rubber band here on the bottom, pull it over the pins, and there we go. That's one side. Now we need to turn our mustard tail around so the red dot is now on the right, and go ahead and just grab the C color rubber band here on the bottom. It doesn't matter which pin. You're just going to pull the whole side over here. So now you should have something like this. And make sure the red dot on your loom is back on the left again. So here's what you should have on your loom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get another C color rubber band. Yes, so get another C color rubber band. And we're also going to get 3 B color rubber bands. Right, so we get a C color rubber band. What we're going to do with it is we're just going to place it going horizontally across the bottom pins. So the bottom left, middle, and right pins. Then we're going to place these 3 B color rubber bands vertically across the 3 sets of pins we have. So one going across the 2 left pins, another going across the 2 middle pins, and one more going across these 2 right pins. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our hook, and we're going to loom this C color rubber band first. So before we loom anything else, get your hook, grab this C color rubber band we just placed, and pull it over those pins there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do an inverted fishtail stitch. And to do an inverted fishtail stitch, what you do, so I'll show you here on this left pin, is you go into this pin here and you only pull back the middle layers. So it should be an A color rubber band, what you're pulling back with your hook. Then you grab the bottom rubber band, which should be a B color rubber band, and then you're going to just pull the rubber band that's on your hook up and over the pin. And that is how you do an inverted fishtail stitch. So I'll show you again. So to do an inverted fishtail stitch, you're going to go into this pin here and only pull back the middle layer. So the top rubber band should not be touched at all. So you have the A color rubber band being pulled back on your hook. You're just going to go ahead, grab the bottom rubber band, which should be a B color rubber band, and just pull it over the pin, and bam. So you're just going to do this for all 6 pins on your loom. The remaining 4 you should have left. So once again, do an inverted fishtail stitch here on the right. Then make sure you turn your loom around so the red dot's on the right, and do the same for these 3 pins. And once you finish, make sure the red dot is back on the left. And now we're going to actually start the pattern for making this bracelet. So, to begin, the little pattern, little sequence you follow to make the bracelet, you're first going to get 3 A color rubber bands. And what you're going to do is you're just going to place each of them going vertically across the 3 sets of pins we have here. So vertically across these 2 left pins, another going across these 2 middle pins, and one more going across these 2 right pins. Now what we're going to do is get our hook and do just a regular fishtail stitch. And to do a regular fishtail stitch, you just grab the bottom rubber band on a pin. It should be an A color rubber band, and pull it over the pin. That's it. You do the same thing for all 6 pins. Grab the bottom rubber band, pull it over, and make sure all of the bottom rubber bands you grab are A color rubber bands, because you don't want to loom the wrong rubber band. So once you do this side, you need to turn your loom around. Go ahead and loom the bottom rubber band. And once you finish, make sure the red dot is back on the left. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do the second part of the pattern. So for the second part, you're going to need 3 B color rubber bands and 1 C color rubber band. So first, we're going to place the C color rubber band. We're going to stretch it horizontally across the bottom pins on our monster tail here. So the bottom left, middle, and right pins. Then we're just going to place these 3 B color rubber bands the same we've been placing all of our A and B color rubber bands. So just like this across the 2 left pins, the 2 middle pins, and the 2 right pins. And now we're going to get our hook again, and what we're going to do is we're going to first loom the C color rubber band before we do anything else. So just pull it over the pins. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do an inverted fishtail stitch on all 6 pins we are using. So to do an inverted fishtail stitch, you just pull back this middle layer, which should be an A color rubber band. Grab this bottom rubber band, which should be a B color rubber band, and just pull it over the pin. You just do this for all 6 pins. And make sure you turn your monster tail around to do the other side. And once you have done an inverted fishtail stitch on all 6 pins, make sure the red dot is back on the left. And now you have just gone through the little cycle you need to go through to make this bracelet once. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the little cycle or pattern for making this bracelet one more time, and then I'm going to leave you to continue making the rest of the bracelet on your own, and that will be the end of part 1 for this video. So this will be in 2 parts because I can't really edit this. So anyway, the pattern for making this bracelet is you get 3 A color rubber bands first, and you just place them going vertically across the 3 sets of pins we have on our loom. So make sure they're vertical. So these 2 left pins, these 2 middle pins, these 2 right pins here. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to get our hook and do a regular fishtail stitch on all 6 pins. So just grab the bottom rubber band, should be an A color rubber band, and just pull it over the pin. Do that for all 6 pins here. Make sure you turn your monster tail around. Then make sure once you finish looming on all 6 pins that you have the red dot back on the left. And now we're going to go through the second part of the pattern, and to do that what you need is 3 B color rubber bands and 1 A color rubber, or 1 C color rubber band, I'm sorry. And what you do is you take the C color rubber band first, and you place it horizontally across these 3 bottom pins here. Bottom left, middle, and right. Then you're going to place these 3 B color rubber bands, and we're going to place them the same way we've placed all of our A and B rubber bands. Vertically across our 3 sets of pins. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our hook, and we're just going to first loom this C color rubber band before we loom anything else. So just loom the C color rubber band over. And now we're going to do an inverted fishtail stitch on all 6 pins instead of just a regular fishtail stitch. So to do an inverted fishtail stitch, you pull back this middle layer here. Ooh, camera's being weird. So you pull back this middle layer, this middle rubber band. It should be an A color rubber band. Ignore the top rubber band. You just grab this bottom rubber band here and pull it over the pin now. So just do that for all 6 pins. Make sure you turn your loom around. Oop. Alright, and once you finish doing an inverted, so once you finish looming, make sure the red dot is back on the left. Alright, so that is the pattern for making this bracelet. I've showed you the pattern twice, and here is what my bracelet kind of looks like so far. So, yeah, so this is part 1 of the how to loom the sea foam bracelet. Part 2 will be up just a few minutes after this part, so yeah. So in part 2 I'll be showing you how to finish off your bracelet, and that will be that. So there will be a link to part 2, just click on it and you will just go ahead and watch through that. So yeah, I'll see you once you finish making your bracelet, so once it's long enough to fit around your wrist.